Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today's video is all about Makeup Revolution palettes, eyeshadow palettes, and there are so many of them that I have in my collection, and I will talk about the ones that I will highly recommend, the ones that are average, and the ones that are not worth your money, or I would say only one or two shades work in that palette, so you decide for yourself whether you want to buy them or not. I will say that if you're going for one or two shades from a palette, just buy a single eyeshadow from any brand that you like. So let's just get started with the first one that I bought in the beginning of my channel. This is Makeup Revolution Redemption palette. It's in the shade Iconic 3. It has 12 shades and it has a nice mixture of mattes and some silky shimmery shades. It still has the MRP. The MRP of this palette was 1050 rupees. I like the deeper shades of this palette. The lighter shades do not look great on me, and most importantly, first of all, they don't show up. If they show up, they kind of take a lot of time to blend in. The deeper shades are nice. It's not a worst palette, it's not the best that I have from Makeup Revolution. There are certain shades that I will talk about. The first one is this goldeny champagne shade. This is a beautiful color, and another one is this taupey color. This shade right here does not suit my skin tone. I don't like it. So if you are my skin tone, you will get an idea which palette you should go for. This I really like, this shade right here. This I never used that much, to be very honest. This I don't like. This I like. This I like. I don't like this one. I don't like this one. This looks a little ashy on me, so that's why I stopped using it. But if I have to pick just two shades, these were the two that I was going for again and again. And I think it's very difficult to define a palette on the basis of how many looks you created with that eyeshadow, because I think you find your favorites from an eyeshadow palette and then you keep on using them. I used all the shades, but these are my favorite. These vertical stripes are quite irritating in nature to get the best pigment, especially if you're using brushes. This is not a worst palette, this is not a best palette from Makeup Revolution. This for me is an average palette. Let's talk about this palette right here. This is Precious Stone Rose Quartz palette from Makeup Revolution. Again, it has 20 shades and this one retails for 1750 rupees. These are all the colors that you're getting. You get a full size mirror, which you do not get with the previous one. That one is for 1000 rupees. In my opinion, any palette that is for 1000 rupees, please give us a mirror. I don't want to carry a separate mirror or a compact with a mirror just to make my eyeshadow blending better. So that's irritating when brands do not give a mirror with a 1000 rupee palette. This one has a mirror, giant mirror, really good quality, and I also like the packaging. I really like this shade. This shade, I hate this yellow shade. It doesn't show up. I don't know why is it here. This is more on the cool tone side. It's a nude corally color, but it's on the cool tone side, so I don't use it as often as I use the rest of the colors that I'm going to mention. This is a very beautiful color. It has a deeper peach undertone to it. This one is something that I don't like. The name of the shade is Baby Doll, and I don't like this shade Baby Doll because it's more on the cool tone side, but that's not even an issue. I can make it work. It crunches and bunches up on your lid, and if you have really dry lid area or if you have lines on your lid, this will make them look even worse. All of these shimmer shades are great except this one. I don't like this one. This shade right here is more on the white ashy cool tone side. It's that kind of white. I don't really like it for myself, but lighter skin tones or any other skin tone can try it out. This I don't get it. I haven't used this shade that often, to be very honest, once or twice. It blends really well. All these shades are beautiful for medium to deeper complexions. All of these are beautiful. All the shades that I like from this palette, they all blend very beautifully. The shimmers here are quite creamy. They look like a putty or putty. I don't know the pronunciation, but they look like that kind of consistency. They work better with fingers. All of these shimmers will work really good with fingers. Ember is more on the grayish black color. It's not a jet black color. If it would have been a perfect black, like that dark black color, this would have been a perfect palette for everybody out there who wants something nude, corally, something which is more on the warm undertone side, because a black eyeshadow always makes a palette complete. So this one is more on the cool tone grayish side. I think only 2-3 colors do not work. So for me, this is a hit palette. This is from their Revolution Pro range, and this is in the shade Intoxicate. This is their Supreme eyeshadow. It was for around 850 if I'm not wrong. I'll try to 995, sorry. The MRP is still there. So these are the shimmer shades of this palette. Look at these. These are so pigmented on hand swatch. But the moment you apply them with fingers on your lid, they will translate. But still not as strong as the hand swatch that I just showed you. All of these are quite powdery in nature, so you have to be careful about that. This palette that I just showed you also has fallout. I'm not talking about shimmers, because with shimmers you have to use your fingers, but all of the mattes do have fallout. Just telling you if that is an important aspect in your purchasing decision. This palette right here for me is not the best, it's not the worst, it's good for beginners. But still, even as a beginner, you will see that it's looking quite powdery and it takes a lot of time to blend in. If you have mature skin, or if you have dry lid area, or if you're a person who hates that process of making things work, you have to make this palette work. Not with the shimmers, but with the mattes you have to struggle a little bit. If you are on the mature skin side, this will exaggerate that. I will recommend this to anybody who is beginner, who has really smooth skin, not to mature skin, not to dry skin. It's leaning towards the worst category. Only the shimmers are saving this palette to go into that category. There are 3 shimmers and 5 mattes. This is more on the cool tone side. It can be a transition shade for lighter skin tones, especially if you are going for this dark shimmer shade, which is more on the rose goldy side. This color right here is a neutral brown color. Then we have an orange color, then a dark taupey plus mauve color, this gold plus champagne color, then a nice rose gold plus mauve shimmery shade, then a dark shimmery shade, then a brown matte color. This palette right here, which I've used and abused so much in 2018, I believe. This is Trends Azure palette. This is Revolution Pro Regeneration Trends Azure palette. The price of this palette is around 1360 or 50 rupees. It has some mattes, some shimmers. About this shade right here, this is a beautiful orangey coral shimmer shade, which I've used a lot. I really like this shade. 3 blue colors. Now out of these 3 blue, I don't like this one, the middle one. This is fine, this is also nice. You have to make these colors work, but this I just gave up on. All of these are mattes. This and these 2 are more on the transition shade side. You can use them as transition shade. I didn't really like this one because it was just way too ashy for my skin tone. This on the other hand I used as a transition shade. I sometimes used to mix it with this dark brown shade, and sometimes with this one, just to create that quick makeup look. One eyeshadow, or mixing 2 eyeshadows and blending them on my lid area, and done for the day. These 2 colors. Now this one is more on the cool undertones side. It looks like a nice house paint color. This is more on the off-white side. I only used it once. All of these mattes are blendable, but they can be powdery, so you have to be careful. The more pigment you take on your eyeshadow brush, the more fallout you'll experience, and not only that, it will be difficult for you to blend. These are 2 different cases. Here, if you take less pigment on your eyeshadow brush, you can get a very smooth transition on your lid. On the other hand, with this palette, it's not possible whether you take less product or more product. Let's talk about the next row. Now in this row, this shade Element is my favorite. I used to use this a lot just for my inner corner and this area, inner lid area. Then this shade, I used to use this one with this, either these two I used to mix, or this one with this nice coral color. Now this is more on the brighter side, this is more on the warmer coral tone side. This one I can't make most of it because of that I am not liking this shade. This I don't like because it doesn't look great on me. This row I do not like this shade. Then in this row I don't like this dark magenta shade and black color. If you'll see, out of 18 I just do not like 5 shades, which for me is not a big issue because most of the colors that I do not like are not my speed, or I just don't know how to use them in synchronization with the other colors that are available in this palette. So I can recommend this palette for sure to everybody out there, because this was my most used eyeshadow palette in 2018 before I bought the Huda Beauty palette, and I definitely feel that you can create looks with it, but you have to be careful that you are not building these colors way too much. The more you build them, the more powdery they can look. If you are into medium pigmentation kind of makeup looks, or if you like very soft makeup looks, quick makeup looks, then you can go for this one. The buildability factor that I mentioned is not for shimmers in here. Shimmers work very well if you are using a finger. If you are using your brush, these two colors will show up, this will not. Pigmentation problem that I'm mentioning, that you have to be very careful, you have to build them slowly, is with mattes, not with shimmers. So you can go all out. This is definitely for me not a worst palette, it's not the best. This for me is definitely something that I can recommend to all of you, because only 5 shades are there that I do not like, rest of them I do like. Okay, let's talk about a palette that has 15 shades. I just like 5 shades, not even 5 I guess. I talked about it earlier as well. This is what it looks like. This is in the shade Fundamental. This is their reloaded palette, and the shade name is Fundamental, which means neutral palette. So there were very nice neutral shades, and I thought maybe if it works, I can recommend it to all of you who like to create only nude looks. I don't like this shade, I don't like this shade. There are so many colors that I don't like. I just like 5 shades. So I'll tell you the colors that I like. I love this color. This is so pretty. I used to just swatch it like this, apply it all over my lid, a brown shade, that's it. I used to go like that to my office. I like this brown shade as well. This color is so irritating, patchy, it looks so bunchy, crunchy. It looks like my eyelid has applied a powder separately and somebody sprinkled shimmers on top. This sprinkle is looking like a coriander sprinkle. But trust me guys, like most shades in this palette do not work. You have to put in so much effort. If I put effort with this palette, with the mattes, especially as I talked about earlier, I see the result. If I put effort with this palette, I don't see any result. I just see embarrassment. This one is priced at 850 rupees. You get 15 shades. Only 5 shades are working and 10 are not. Then it's a fail for me. Both of these are from the similar range. This I like, this I don't. So this is in the shade Red Alert, again from their reloaded range, for 850 rupees. My favorite from this palette is this red shade. Wow! Again, it will work really well if you use your fingers. If you are using all of these shimmers that are available, there are I think 5 shimmers. So there are 4 shimmers in this palette, and my favorite is this red color. Also really like this golden color. If I have to compare these two golden colors, I will always go for this one. The colors that I do not like from this palette is this one, because it feels ashy on my skin tone. I also do not like this coral undertone color. I mean, at times I do. I like to mix this one with a darker coral color, then it works. But if I'm using solely, then it won't. Most of the colors in this palette are blendable, especially the shimmers do not disappoint you. Just use your fingers. The mattes, my favorite mattes from this palette, this one. Very beautiful pigmented eyeshadow. I like this one as well. I like this pink. I like this. If I have to pick these two purples, I like this purple more than this one. This for me at times is difficult to blend. and I've tried it with different eyeshadow, not eyeshadow primers, but concealers. So at times it gives me some kind of attitude. I don't know. This is more on the lilac-y cool tone side. This is more on the warmer side. I will always prefer this one because this blends very easily and shows up quickly. Definitely this is a palette that I can recommend to all of you because this works. Shades are definitely appropriate for Indian skin tone. So if you are a lighter skin tone, you can go for this one, this pink color. If you are my skin tone, you can go for this color. If you are deeper than me, you can go for this dark purple color. For corals as well, you have options. So if you're lighter skin tone, you can go for this one. For medium skin tones, you can go for this one. For deeper skin tones, you can go for this one. This is not a neutral palette. However, there are some shades that can help you in creating a nude look. This is my favorite makeup, but I will use some palette. Favorite. This is the outer packaging. I have still kept the outer packaging. This is their blushed palette. This is their Revolution Pro New Neutral Blushed Palette. This one is for 750 rupees. And this is what the packaging looks like. It's a rose gold leopard print packaging. You get a nice mirror in here. It's a magnetic closure. Look at the shades. Oh, beautiful shades. This reminds me of Huda Beauty palette. However, some shades are different from that. I don't like this shade. It is not that pigmented as compared to the rest of the colors that are available in this palette. So I don't like this one. It's a nice vibrant yellow color, but it doesn't show up on lid. I tried. This is a beautiful color. This will show up. It will just jazz up your makeup look. This shade right here, I don't get it. It doesn't look great on my skin tone. This can be used to set your concealer. This one as well. Both of these. They've named it prime and tone. So both of these can be used to just set your concealer. Both of these colors are pressed glitters. This is more on the silky shimmery side, and the pigmentation is nice. It blends beautifully. The shimmers work well with the help of fingers or in this palette, but I don't like it on my skin tone. There's no problem with the pigmentation. There is no problem with the blendability of the shade. I just don't like it on my skin tone. This, on the other hand, is a beautiful pink. I really like this light pink color. Out of all the light pinks that they have given in this palette, I like this one the most, which is in the shade Hint. This one is a nice mauvey dark pink, which looks so beautiful, and it's a matte. It blends beautifully. It looks beautiful. No complaints. This again, great shade. This one is more on the silver side, which has a little bit of pink to it, which is why I like it. Then let's talk about this dark orange color. It's more on the sunsetty side. The color name is Roasted, and it's a matte shade, and it looks beautiful, blends really well, no complaints. Then we have Curio. Curio is a darker version of this color Hint, and it has a nice red and warm undertone to it. Looks very pretty, blends really well. It translates well if you use it with the help of a finger. This is a green which is known as Gala in this palette. It is not as dark as it looks in the pan. Then we have Claret. Claret is a neutral tone taupey color, which I like. I really like this color. This is a cool tone taupey color. The next one, which is Glimpse. So I don't really like this color. It blends very well, and I think lighter skin tones will really like it, or if you mix it with a darker color, you can try that. I did try that, but I didn't really like it. We'll talk about Bloom. Bloom is a neutral undertone coral color, which is matte, blends really well, it translates well. I just don't like to use it on its own. I like to mix it with this color right here just to make it work. We'll talk about Corona. I don't know why this shade is known as Corona, but let's just ignore that part. It's a silky shimmery shade. If I have to choose between this shade and this one, I will obviously choose this one right here. Then we have Scarlet. Scarlet is a warm taupey brown color. If you want to create that brownie smokiness, sometimes people really don't use a black color to smoke out their look, so you can always use a dark brown color like Scarlet, and it is a matte shade. It just makes your eye look complete. Then we have Prime. As I told you, Prime and Tone, both of these can be used as setting your eyeshadow base, setting your concealer as your eyeshadow base, and both of these are matte. Then we have Lucent. Lucent looks like a lilac-y pink color, which has a very mild purple undertone to it, not too much. But if I have to choose between Hint and Lucent, I will always go for Hint. Hint translates better on my lid and looks better in comparison with Lucent. Lucent is better for lighter skin tones, and if I am using Hint, I will have to use something like this. These are the two that I don't like. Rest of them are just a matter of preference. I don't prefer them personally, but all of these shades are pigmented, they are buildable, they last throughout the day, do not crease. All the shades that I have talked about that I like, they do not crease, they have the ability to last throughout the day, and this palette is the best from the lot that I have of Makeup Revolution. So let's talk about another palette. This is not a palette, this comes in this kind of case wherein you get individual shadows, and these can, okay, there is no magnetic casing at all, so these are not travel friendly. I actually forgot the name of the shade as well, but let me just try. This is what it looks like. There are 3 mattes and 2 shimmers, and all of them work. I just don't like this shade right here because it's more on the cool tone side, but this is a nice warmer coral tone. This is a mauve pink color, and these two are shimmers, and all of these work. They do, guys. The shimmers work better with fingers. That's a constant that I've seen that's a constant that I've seen with a lot of high-end makeup brands as well, that their shimmers work better with fingers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon next to it, and click for all notifications. If you do not agree with any of my opinions, let me know in the comment section below. I will hear you. Okay, okay, so okay, bye. I hope I didn't forget anything. Let me see if I have forgotten anything.